continue our interview series with successful attorney marketers, we're taking a close look at what's working, what's not, and the specific steps these attorneys took to get to where they are. And these are simple steps that you too can follow to get on a similar path to growth. Okay, we're going to dive right in. Today, our special guest is attorney Daryl Isaacs. He's the co-founder of Isaacs & Isaacs, a personal injury firm serving Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio. Over the last 30 years, the firm has recovered more than $2 billion for their clients. He's popularly known as the Hammer. We're super excited to have him here. Welcome, Daryl. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So Daryl, how about we start by you telling us just a little bit about who you are, about your story, a little bit about your practice, then we'll get right into the marketing stuff.
Okay. So on 1/1 of 93, I finally opened our doors. I had flunked the bar twice, and my father was semi-retired. So I went to him and said, let's do this together, which I still remember him cracking up. But I said, I think I would get more respect as a firm name than an individual or sole practitioner. So my father had always done personal injury and helped a lot of people, and he had retired, and I just knew I wanted to be like him. So we started practicing, and during law school, I was very blessed. I worked for actually a criminal attorney named Dave Kaplan. He's long deceased, but he let me sit through 22 jury trials, and he let me work on his auto practice. So during law school a lot, I'm not proud of it, but I would cut class, and I handled over 300 car wreck cases. So when I finally did pass the bar, I was just ready. I mean, I had all this experience, and so Isaacs & Isaacs was formed, and we, from day one, have always focused on personal injury. Our firm now has, we handle majority of car wreck. We do a lot of truck litigation, dog bite. We're just, we're 100% plaintiff firm, and we have over 30 attorneys and probably support staff. It's a total of like 95 people. So we love what we do, but we help those that can't help themselves.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Going into business with dad. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. So Daryl, you're a pretty high profile guy now. You star in your own commercials, you host a podcast. You're certainly the face of the firm, but let's quickly go back to kind of the beginning. When did you sort of discover those key marketing elements in really growing your law firm? And what were those marketing channels or those solutions?
Well, I've always had a marketing mind because, when you go to law school, you're basically trained to be this litigator, you fight, and they don't teach anything about marketing. And fortunately for me, before I went to law school, my grandfather had a jewelry store, and during college and then after college, he got ill, and I took it over, and I ended up closing it. But I remember I would go work nights, weekends, and I would sit and stare at the door, and you're waiting for customers to come in. And I kept swearing, one day I'm going to advertise, So I knew when I started the law firm, I was going to advertise. I don't know. It's like, I tell my kids, everybody has to market every day of their life. I mean, you market for a job, to get in college, to get a spouse, so you're always marketing. But I think lawyers as a whole, everybody always frowned on it. But when I started researching it early on, I mean, Abraham Lincoln did it. So I thought if it was good enough for the president of the United States, good enough for me. But I knew from day one I was going to advertise. And then I don't know if you want me to go into how I did it, or I'll wait for the next question.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. What were some of the first things you did? Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to go on TV, and back at the time, we're talking 19. So I came out, and I didn't have any other attorneys, and I started really from scratch. And my father was retired, so my first hire was like a secretary. But I just decided I was sending letters initially, because you could do that, from police reports. And I started getting a lot of business. But then I started getting a lot of law firms that were sending me their litigation cases from referrals. And this is what really changed my life, because I would do all the work and then I'd have to give up half the fee. And I never minded giving up the fee, but I thought, you know what, if I can advertise, I could do the litigation and get the cases.
Right.
Um, that's how my idea of going on TV. And when I presented to my father, he was more old fashioned. He didn't want to go on TV, but he supported me. And I wanted him to be the face because he was older and more mature.
Mhm.
But we met with an agency and they said it's got to be me. And I felt like a young kid. Um, so, when they finally convinced me to do it, I went on TV and I really was blown away. I mean, within 6 months, I mean, we had over 1,000 cases. We couldn't handle the volume. Um, but TV is what got me started in 1996. And, to this day, we're still on TV, obviously.
Okay, yeah. So do you know kind of about what percent of revenues now you devote to marketing and advertising at your firm? And has that kind of changed as the firm has grown?
Yes. There's always, you could look at industry standards. I know a lot of people said you got to spend 5, 10, 15% of your gross revenue on advertising. I don't have a particular rule, but like I can tell you last year, I spent 38% on advertising, which is high.
Mhm.
And then the year before, obviously with COVID, we didn't spend that much, but I'm always in 25% or more because I don't have partners. And so I don't wake up each day and say, I got to make X amount of dollars. What I do is I want to keep providing great paying jobs. I've got phenomenal staff. I've got people have been with me for 20 plus years. So, I mean, I just want to take care of them. And advertising marketing is just a way to guarantee I know I'm always going to be growing. So, but if I had to give you, if everybody's looking for what's the hardcore answer, I'm going to say 25% is where I like to be, but
Okay.
many times I'm over that.
Yeah, that's helpful. So of the, you mentioned about 38% last year, the vast majority of that invested into TV advertising, or how did that, what does that mix look like? What else are you investing in?
Well, 3 years ago, 90% of my advertisement was TV. And because of the younger generation and social media, the under 35 crowd, I don't know what you call them, they got so many names for so many, they don't watch TV. And I got like I got two kids that are 20, they're college students, and then one who graduated college 23. And, I don't think my daughter's watched TV in years. She watches her handheld cell phone,
Right.
Netflix, everything. So we now are only spending, last time I checked, we spent 31% last year on TV. So, it's changed if you put it on a curve.
Mhm.
We have over 800 something billboards. We're doing a lot of social media. I finally joined TikTok. I mean, that's been a, fun experience. But I'm going to say if you took of our 100% budget, TV is about 31%. And, Billboard gets about 10 to 12%, but the rest is just going to be on social media, pay per clicks, local service ads. I mean, it's the world's changed to say the least.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the pay-per-click stuff. So either it sounds like maybe you're doing both Google Ads and
Yeah.
Facebook social advertising, paid advertising. Has
Yes.
it been effective for you? Tell us about your experience with pay-per-click.
Well, pay per click, I don't understand it, but we have people that do it for us. Um, like every night I look at the reports. Like I think yesterday will be the day before. I think we had 55 clicks now, and I think we signed up 2 from those 55. Um, but then yesterday we signed up 12 from TV, and we try to break it down where they're coming from. The one advantage of being on TV all these years is I have a very big organic presence. So people are researching for us. But Google is so smart. I mean, they own all the real estate and we all rent from them. So, now it's gotten to be where the organic's way down on the totem pole and the pay per clicks is pretty good, but Local service ads is above that. I mean, for today's attorney that markets and advertises, you got to be on all of them. I mean, you got to be on all the platforms if you want to compete.
Yeah. So you talked about, so are you working with an outside agency? Do you have, I know you have a team of in-house marketers. What does that look like? Are you mostly handling this in-house, or are you working with agency?
Well, we have our own in-house agency. So we have a marketing director, a buyer, a social media person. We have someone that writes for us. But with what we also do, we have consultants, like we have a Google expert that we pay to help us with our local service ads and Google My Business. But the majority of it we do in-house, and then we do contract out for a pay-per-click. That's an animal that none of us understand. So we found someone that has done this for years. And attorney advertising is just so different. Over the years, I've always seen all these companies come in and everybody's trying it, and it's unique. I'm not saying you can't figure it out, but a lot of marketing companies that don't do lawyer advertisement don't understand. I mean, when I went on TV in 96, I think there was like 3 competitors. Now on any given day, say in Louisville, Kentucky, there's over 40 attorneys on TV. So,
right.
It's just the water has really gotten crowded.
When a firm is sort of vetting a marketing agency, what are some of the things they should look out for? I mean, I talked to so many attorneys who unfortunately have been burned by, maybe they're on their 3rd or 4th agency. They're just not seeing the results. The transparency isn't there. What do you have some advice on kind of what they should look out for when they are searching for someone to help them?
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I love marketing agencies. I got started, with several. And I didn't bring this in-house, so I'd been on TV like 10 years or so. But I think what I would look for if I was hiring a marketing agency today, I would want exclusivity for my market, at least in the attorney world. If that agency, represented a grocery store or something, that wouldn't bother you, but you wouldn't want them, the Yellow Pages. The reason I hated it forever is they sold fear, but they drove the customer to the Yellow Pages, and in the Yellow Pages was all your competitors. So it was always hard to write that check to the Yellow Page company, knowing they're representing my competitors. So I would want a marketing agency that would agree to give me exclusivity in my, what we call DMA. So that would be the first and foremost. And there are so many wonderful agencies. I've met so many. It's just when we started, we were spending like 200 grand a year. And, last year, I think we spent 12 million. And so we wanted to parlay a lot of that in house and then just keep throwing it back in advertising. But marketing agency, I would definitely, that's how I got started.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, that's great. So it sounds like still most of your clients are coming in through TV advertising, or is that not so much the case? It sounds like, maybe.
Well, I don't know the percent breakdown, but our referral is huge. We've represented over 70,000 people. And so when majority of them we've made happy. I'm sure there's some we haven't made not so happy, but what I've found is if you do a great job for a client, they will refer. Many of our $1 million cases come in from a direct referral. So, I mean, advertising is a necessary evil, as I would call it, because there's so many people doing it. And I wanted to be one that was doing it. I always want to be in front, but sometimes I'm not the lead one. Sometimes I am. But I would say that you have to advertise, and social media you have to do, agencies. I mean, I think the attorney that does no marketing, I don't know how they survive in today's world.
Right. Right. Well, Daryl, let's talk a little bit about social media. Is it a sizable contributor to lead flow? I follow you on Instagram where you're very informative and entertaining. Let's talk a little bit about social. Does it contribute to your lead flow, and what kind of content seems to resonate most?
Well, for me, so I've always said I'm just this average attorney who paid to be on TV, but the public sees you different. A lot of them give you the celebrity status, which I in no way deserve. But social media hypes up that status. Um, we've seen in the last year or so, we've upped our social media presence, and I could tell. I think it's up in our game, getting better quality of a case. You know, there's many. I mean, I've been following. There's other attorneys I follow that have millions of followers on TikTok and stuff, and it's just everyone's different. Like TikTok's more of an entertainment,
Mhm.
and so we did some Super Bowl ads years ago that the last one we did before COVID had 14 million views. So that kind of, everybody's looking for you. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to hire you, but I just think social media right now is what I'm going to call the blue ocean.
Mm,
Have you ever heard that term where you
yeah,
want to be where not a lot of people are?
right.
I think more and more people are getting into this, and I see a window of about a year and a half, and then it's going to be so crowded. There's got to be another way to reach people, but social media is so important.
I mean, it sounds like you are quick to pivot, an early adopter, really, when it comes to, it sounds like you test. I mean, marketing is all about a series of tests, right? And it sounds
Right.
like you have really, put some great feelers, and then you kind of do more of what's working, and you maybe pull back on what's not. Is that something that your team kind of coordinates, and do you have kind of an ongoing marketing calendar or schedule? How do you kind of make sure that your team's time and resources are dedicated to the most effective and efficient marketing?
Well, that's where my mastermind groups come in. Because every lawyer, what they're trying to do is run their practice and stay up with the trends. So what I've found over the years, since 15, I started these law groups, and now we're up to 4, where each group will meet, say 12 to 15 firms will meet twice a year, but all of a sudden, but we're not competitors. So we'll come in and meet, we just had one 3 weeks ago at our place in Florida. Um, and it was great because firms from California, New York, Boston, Texas, they're coming all over the country. Well, then you sit down with attorneys who are not your competitors, they're not advertising your market, and everybody's discussing. One firm is doing something new, and then everybody jumps on it. So
Mhm.
I use my law firm or the law groups that we manage and we help facilitate. That's kind of a springboard, a sounding board. Okay,
Yeah.
like to give you an example, I kind of went big on TikTok 6 weeks ago, and there was a attorney from Atlanta. She's killing it, and she's like, "Dear, you got to do these videos. You got to do the videos." So we start doing a couple videos every day. We were together down there in our meeting, and oh my gosh, my first video I did, I think I got like 1,500. I was so disappointed. But like last week, I did 2 that got over 150,000 views,
Wow.
and I think a lot of them are so stupid. But that's what the public wants. I mean, I heard some expert speak at some conference. He's like, it's not our job to question the customer. It's our job to give the customer what they want. And I totally agree with that. So the new craze is, um, again, I'm not a celebrity by any means. I'm always on TV. So the people in my state see me all the time. So now I know they want to see me on TikTok. And, last night, one of my kids dropped by, um, and he was FaceTiming his buddy up, out of state. And they're like, I love your dad's TikTok. Can I say hi to him? So, we started doing a FaceTime. And I thought it's just, so you got to give the public what they want. And everybody wants to see, if you're an advertising attorney, it's not just me. A good friend of mine, Mike Morris, is in another state, and he was with our last meeting. And
He's
I
up
mean, he's
in
been,
Michigan, yeah? He's Michigan.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Michigan.
yeah, yeah.
Well, he called me about 2 weeks ago. He's like, all right, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to jump on this. You're doing it. And no, again, none of us wanted to do it, but you have to do it. So I don't know. It's just, I mean, you look so young, so you could tell us more, but your all's generation, the old generation like mine, a lot of them would be in Facebook groups and everything, but now people want different stuff, and it's a lot of it's not coming from TV.
Right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. So then, because you're really in this right now, what are your top tips for other attorneys who they know video is so crucial, they know getting on social media is critical? How do they start? Do you pull out your phone and start talking? What do you say? Give us a little bit of insight there.
Well, you have to get somebody that knows what they're doing, so you have to get a kid. So what I did, this attorney that was helping me out of Atlanta, her name's Jen, great lady. She's young. I mean, she's a lot younger than me. I'm 58. I think she's in her 30s. She was telling me, you got to go on trends. She was showing me this. So we decided to run an ad. She has someone that's like 24 that does it for her. And we decided to run an ad, and we didn't really get much. So she said, why don't you do a TikTok video? So I just had one of my IT guys come film it. And oh my gosh, we didn't know what we were doing. I'm floating in the air. I got my Crocs on. He wasn't supposed to get my Crocs, but I wore this Christmas sweater and said, come work for me doing social media to be like Christmas every day. And out of the blue, I started getting these influencers. Like one girl had 30 plus million followers. And
Wow.
so anyway, we started interviewing, and we ended up hiring a girl. You'll see her, Claudia. She's famous for her red hair, but she has millions and millions of views and hundreds of thousands of followers. And so we hired her. And so she does these videos for us. She films it, but she also stars in it. And then I also am in hers, and we're interchanging like her following. But I would say anybody can start doing this. But what I would do is try to get local influencers. Like we found another girl, her name's Ryan, and we've done a lot of stuff. We joke about, we formed an alliance. She's a realtor, but she's got like 100,000 followers, and she's posting 2 or 3 videos a day. So once or twice a month, we'll get together, we'll shoot 3 or 4. And I just got started with, so Claudia is actually 25, the girl that we hired. She just young, gets it, understands it. And, I just think you got to get somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah. I love that you just jumped in though. That's pretty cool. That's the way to do it, right? You just got to
Yep.
start. I mean, sometimes that's the biggest hurdle, is just starting. Maybe you fumble through it for a little while, but you start
Right.
to find traction, start to find your voice, and it can really have a big impact. So Daryl, kind of before we wrap up, if a lawyer watching only has time to adopt 1, maybe 2 of your firm's successful marketing channels, what would you recommend?
They have to brand themselves. Whenever I talk, my favorite talk is branding. You have to brand. And I'm going to give you an idea. Like early on when I came up, I wasn't always the hammer, but my first slogan was, we'll work hard for you. You have to do something that makes you stand out. And now with social media, you can do that. We brand all the time, and we just did a rebrand. We switched our website. We liked our website, but we didn't like the direction it was going. So we switched companies, and I went out and bought this domain, wewin.com. And that's probably one of the best things I've ever done, because we just got a $10 million verdict on a case last November in a federal trial on a truck case. And we launched with that verdict. That's the same day I ended up buying this domain. But so now we're everything, we still advertise the hammer, but it's all wewin.com, and it's just easier. People can go, but branding's important. And then the second most important thing, and from day one, you got to get an easy phone number. That's just so crucial. I see so many attorneys, and I try to help and counsel and coach, and I'll look at their advertising campaign, and their phone numbers will have 7 different digits. And it's like, I just thinking, I love everything simple. One of our numbers is 800-800-8s. And recently we just paid a fortune for 877 all 7. So we bought the national toll-free number. I just think you need to brand, and people need to find out who you are, and they need to be able to get a hold of you really easy.
Good. Smart, really good advice. Okay, so Daryl, tell us about the marketing summit you guys are planning for
Oh,
September.
yes.
I know
Thank
our
you. Thank you.
audience,
Thank
I
you.
know our audience will love to hear about this. Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, and hopefully you can send you the link if you can post it.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
from all my mastermind groups, we just came up with all these topics and ideas, and we got some fabulous attorneys. So I came up with an idea. I had a horrible car wreck in January 19th, 2015, where I was hit by a car, almost died, and broke my neck. And I just had my 10th surgery. And that's where all these groups were joined. I pretty much want to help and give back. So advise and counsel, and our groups that we form of all the law firms in the past that do business with us. And we're not responsible for all their success. I'm just saying we bring everybody together. And like one firm in LA, they went from 25 employees to 300. So we share management, marketing tips. And so they've done over $70 billion. So my marketing director said, why don't we do something for the everyday attorney, the average attorney? Maybe there's some lawyers out there that, have one or two or three attorneys, and they're not in these mastermind groups. So we're having it's the 2022 marketing and management legal summit. It's at the Wynn. It's from September 28th to the 30th, but we're limited to 1,000 attorneys. And we're limited to, I think 30 vendors or less. But we're going to have some amazing speakers like Jim Adler. He gets over 90 cases a day. He's in my group. He's going to speak. A guy named Andy Finkelstein out of New York he's got so many law firms, and I think he spends 25 million in New York City alone, just crazy. And then we also are going to teach people how to use advertising. Like, we do litigation, and we got the $10 million verdict. And the first thing we did in the next 2 weeks is we printed 110 billboards with our $10 million verdict. So we wanted everybody to know we can go out and get these verdicts. And so we're just going to show everybody some general marketing and advertising tips. And I don't know, I'm just excited. It's going to be 2.5 days. You can get CLE credit, but we're just going to basically make this about trying to give back, helping attorneys, and see how it goes.
It really sounds like an invaluable event, Daryl. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, we'll make sure to send the link to sign up with this episode. So thank you so much. And
well, thank you. Thank you.
And Daryl,
thank you for taking the time to interview me. I'm so humble and blessed and honored. You could have, I don't know why you picked me, but thank you for picking me.
Well, there's a lot that we can all learn from you, and we really appreciate your candor, and it was a pleasure. You were really wonderful. So everyone, be sure to join us for our next episode, and we will see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.